So as we were out tourist trekking around Creede, Colorado, we took the Bachelor Mine Tour up north of Creede through all the mines and ran into this, the Last Chance Mine. And it is one of the coolest places we've been. So come with us and check this amazing place out.
Well, guys, welcome to the Last Chance Mine. My name is Jack Morris. I'm the owner of the mine. I bought the mine back in 1998 from the family that had owned it since 1891. That was the Granger family. The last Granger family member to own it was Nancy Granger Shallon. Now, Nancy sold me the mine because of what I wanted to do with it, and that was preserve it, restore it, and open it to the public. Now, Nancy Granger, she was in her mid-60s when I first contacted her. She lived in Santa Monica, California. And I told her, I said, Nancy, I'd like to go up and photograph the mine. She said, well, yeah, you can go up and photograph it. Up is exactly what she meant. Because to get here, the road was completely impassable from being neglected for over 50 years. The only way that I could have gotten down it was with a dozer. Now, I drove up the canyon, parked down in the valley below, which is 1,500 feet below us, and climbed the mountain to get here. I come up, photographed the old mine, went back down, called her, told her I was off the property, and she said, how'd you like it? I said, I loved it. She said, you want to buy it? She said, well, we're going to sell you all 13 levels of the mine. This is number 2 level. Behind us here, this is the level we're currently working on for an underground walking tour next year. 13 level attaches to the Amethyst mine at the bottom of the canyon. We are the only mine in the state of Colorado that you can rock collect at. Our amethyst, sow-belly agate, silver ore, and turquoise can be found down in the mine dump. So we hope you guys enjoy your visit with us, and thank you for coming in and letting me share my home with you. That's going to be a nice piece.
Take it. Hi,
Hi.
I'm Jordan with Tourist Trekking.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Jordan.
My name's Margret.
Margaret and Jack.
I'm Jack Morris.
Well, how long have you guys been getting this going as a museum and as a preservation site?
Well, actually, I started it in 1998. That was the first time that I had the ability to try to preserve some of our mining history.
Sure.
So, and I've been working on it ever since.
So what's your future plan for this site?
Well, my future plans is to keep expanding it. We try to bring back at least one building a year. We have, right now on this level, we have our cabin here, our home, which was the Compressor House. That was the latest building built. It was built in 1974 to house 2 diesel compressors for underground exploration.
So a modern building.
A modern building. The big building you see there, I've restored it. It was from the 1890s. It housed 3 ore bins on the main level and then a workshop above. The first building you see down there, the small one, that was an oil storage house. It was an open fronted loading dock for oil and kerosene. And it has been closed in. We turned it into our miner's cabin. That's actually the first cabin that I restored, where I spent my first summer, my second summer, and my first full winter.
So you actually lived at, what is this, 10,006?
10,006.
For a full year with 10 feet of snow and cutting your own firewood and hauling everything?
That's correct.
That's impressive.
Including hauling my water from the spring, which is halfway back up the road.
So what do you hope to get people interested in? What are the main attractions for this historic site?
Well, my main idea is just to preserve our mining history for future generations. I believe that if we do not preserve our history for the next generations to learn from and see, they don't understand mining.
Right.
And we want families to be able to come here and collect and dig their own rock, get a history lesson, a geology lesson, and be able to enjoy this site.
Well, if you don't mind, can we head into that mine and I have to admit I've never been inside a mine. Done some weird stuff in my life, but I'm slightly nervous about that one.
Well, Jordan, there's nothing to be nervous about. It's a hard rock mine. It's nice and stable. We're doing the restoration work. We're lighting it with state-of-the-art LED lighting so everybody can see things. You're going to see the Amethyst Vein, what other people have only heard about, and see it firsthand for yourself, and you will be amazed.
Well, let's give it a shot then.
All right.
Right off the bat, a couple concerns. Is there gas in any of these?
No, not in these mines. Gas is always associated with typically coal mines. Coal mines have pockets of methane in them, and then you have the coal dust on top of that is highly volatile.
Oh, sure.
Now, this is a hard rock mine. It was mined out of the rhyolite mountain and the silver, and that's what they were looking for. Now, this is a naturally aspirated mine, meaning it breathes on its own. And it does that through convection. This mine is connected to 3 other major mines in the district, all of them lower than me. We're the highest mine on the mountain that's open. So all the air through natural heating comes up through, comes all the way through the mountain,
Yeah.
passing through multiple passageways before it gets here.
Well, yeah, you can feel the breeze sitting here.
You can feel a breeze. We have to be legally bound to take anybody underground. Once we open for public tours, we're legally bound to monitor the air on a daily basis.
I would imagine.
We have a minimum of 19.5% oxygen. We have our first inspection, we reached that. We have good air throughout the mine. So as you travel through, you will feel that air constant.
Sure.
In some areas where the tunnels are more narrow, you'll feel a stronger breeze than you do right here.
So you said there are 3 other mines below this one. How many tunnels are actually in, or how many miles of tunnels are in this mountain?
Well, in this mountain alone, this is known as Bachelor Mountain, there's actually about 200 miles of tunnels that interconnect. The 3 major mines interconnected through a haulage way that come out down at the Commodore mine called the Humphreys Tunnel. And this was driven in so they could drop the ore down through the mountain and haul it out rather than to bring it back up.
Right.
But there's over 200 miles of these tunnels. That creates a natural aspiration to this mine. The air down below being cooler, us being warmer up here, we get a natural convection up through the mountain. It comes through, it follows all these passageways, it brings fresh air to us all the time. We have to reach 19.5 to take the public underground in oxygen content. We are above that oxygen content of 19.5, so we have good air.
Sure.
That was our major concern with opening this to the public. Now, this mine alone has between 30 and 40 miles of underground tunnels. This level alone, which is level number 2, has between 3 and 4 miles in this. We have one more level higher up. That was the main exploration level, number 1. 13 level is 1,300 feet below us in the bottom of the canyon connecting to the Amethyst mine.
So up here, the top levels were silver mainly then.
Well, the 3 mines, major mines here, that's what they were all going after.
So it wasn't really gold rush stuff. It was
kinda,
silver.
Yeah, but it was silver instead of gold. Now, this mine did produce gold, and we produced enough gold to pay our overhead during the operation days of this mine between 1891 and 1947.
Oh, wow.
Now, this mine here also produced the highest quality of the amethyst and sow belly agate, which was waste rock, but it always led the miners to the silver deposits.
Oh. Is there some of that still open where we can?
There is a
See the
couple
veins?
of veins open. We plan on washing these veins down. Right now they're pretty mucky and dirty, but you can still see the amethyst in these veins. We're going to illuminate them for people to see and be able to actually walk up and touch.
Sure. So it sounds like you're pretty close to opening then. We're kind of lucky to do this, but I can't wait. We'll be back to take the tour when you finally get it open.
Safety is a key issue inside the mine. And we do multiple things. We monitor the air of a morning before we ever start going inside.
Sure.
See what the oxygen quality is. The second one of the key items in here is a hard hat. A rock the size of your fist falling from the roof, what we call the back.
Oh.
Common layman's terms is a roof.
Right.
It's not a roof. Inside the mine, it's the back and the ribs.
Oh.
That's what supports our mine.
Huh.
Now, if a rock falls out of the back, hits you in the head, and one this size, falling from 20 feet, it'll put a hole in your head.
Yeah, that's lights out.
And if you're lucky, you'll survive it. So to do so, we actually wear these.
That makes sense to me.
These are the hard hats that we wear inside the mine. There's various styles. I prefer this style. So we'll put our hard hats on. We'll get ready to head into the mine so we can document what we've done already.
So I know nothing about mining. I've never even been inside them. There's the Camp Bird one up there where it's been inside that huge initial area where they've got all the equipment and people live in there, but never in an actual tunnel.
All right, this is the first crossing of a stope. Now, a stope is a deposit of ore that the miners were digging and removing from an area. Now this particular stope runs across the tunnel. It goes in two different directions. As we look up, there are workstations. We'll see back in here, continuing up, and it continues up for approximately 150 feet.
Holy crap, Jack.
Now, these, you'll see, well, Jordan, you see these timbers?
Yeah.
All right, these timbers you see here, these are workstations, not to hold the mountain up, but to hold the men up.
So people would be chipping stuff out of the mountain on those tiny little...
Absolutely. They would lay a plank across here, and then they would dig this out above their head. It would fall down. You see this track here.
Yeah.
Now, this track is the remnant of the old 1891 trackway for them to bring the ore out on ore carts. This continues back and makes a turn inside the mountain. Now, if you'll notice the difference in the rock, you see how this is sharp-edged and broken?
Yep.
That's because this was blasted. You see this surface, how it's more smooth
Yeah.
and more even? That's because this was not blasted.
So a stope, when they cut them, they just followed a vein as far as it went, and then
And when it stopped, that's when they stopped mining, went to another direction.
move on.
And this stope goes this way.
Ow. I see why the hard hats now.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
So what's was this netting original, or is this stuff you had to?
Well, actually what this is what many people got around their house to keep their dogs in. This is chain link. Chain link works extensively well in here. It's very strong. It has a high tensile strength. But as you see by looking up, I'll shine my light on one of them so you can see it clearly. These plates
Yeah.
are on 4-foot spring-loaded bolts. So every one of these bolts had to have a separate hole drilled. And we pneumatically drive these bolts 4 feet into the rock, and it pulls the netting up. Now the netting does two things. It holds any loose rocks, like that one right there,
Yep.
from falling and hitting someone, but it also reinforces the back. Now this whole thing is tied together. Now these bolts do not go straight up.
So
One
they're
may go straight up, one will go at an angle. They go at various different angles, which creates an interlocking maze internally in the rock. So for it to come down, there would have to be massive stress to
Right.
tear this down.
So there's no chance of people getting hurt in here.
Well, that's what we want to keep it. We want to keep this a safe environment to bring families and children. We have had no injuries at this mine since I've owned it for 17 years, other than the little minor skin knees and scraped knuckles and a little cut on the finger.
Right.
Just walk down the tunnel, you two guys.
The standard hand gestures are hard to see.
Yep, they are.
I expected to feel way more claustrophobic about it. So I'm guessing for now this is where the tour ends.
Well, this is not where the tour ends that we want to open. This is where we will stop right now.
Sure.
And we will stop there for a multitude of reasons. As you'll see, these timbers were put in about 1974, so they've been in here all this time. Now, because they're dripping wet, they're actually more solid than if they were dry,
Sure.
because the water keeps the saturation point into the cells of the wood, making it waterlogged, much like the cypress stumps that they find that's been buried hundreds of years.
Yeah.
This wood is still hard. Now, if I take this to the surface and let it air dry, this wood will be just as solid as the day it was cut in 1970s. The stope that goes up here, through this area here, continues on a more northerly track. We will see another section of this stope before we leave the tunnel. Now, I'm gonna step back in here. I'm going to pick up a couple of pieces of rock and show you some of the amethyst
Sure. Oh yeah.
that has never seen the light of day. This is a piece of our amethyst and salbelly agate. This is what comes out of the mine. This is what they were following. Now this is just a small fragment of it. I'm going to hand this piece over to you. And we have another.
I don't really do this very often, but you have to see this.
This mountain, which was the Margret and Creede volcano.
Right.
We're going to take this one to the surface. And the Amethyst Vein is right here.
Oh, sure as shit.
Now we might want to set our cameras up a little bit more on this side so we can illuminate this a little bit and you can see the mineralization of the vein itself.
Yeah.
Now this here is the Amethyst Vein. This is what many, many people have heard about when they come to Creede.
Yes.
Everybody talks about it, but nobody's seen it except the miners.
Because it's a
because
quarter mile into the.
It's inside the mountain and nobody gets to come in here. As we travel down, you'll notice this. This is the amethyst. This is the amethyst and salbelly agate. Now, I don't know if we're going to be lucky enough to get a piece out because this is still pretty hard right here.
Sure.
Now, if we could get a piece of this up, you will be able to see it firsthand. And this will be the first time man has ever touched this piece of rock.
I can see why you did this.
This is
That's-
a fascinating place.
It's pretty
Me?
exciting.
You know, we really want people to see this firsthand. Put your hand down there, Jordan. Catch that. I haven't touched it yet. So you get to touch the first piece of rock that's been touched in 40 million years. There you go. There's your first piece of amethyst.
You have to come and see this. As soon as this place opens, people need to come and see this.
Jordan, you asked us a question that they're not all 8-inch veins, and they aren't. They were following veins in through this mountain from 1/4 of an inch wide of amethyst to 10 feet wide. Now you'll see that the pile of rubble that's down at the base here, that's called muck. This is the last area they were worked, but you notice that it's not really rock.
Yeah.
It's more dirt and clay. And this is some of that sulfide material that they were following. Now, at the far end of this, right in the center,
Yep.
is the amethyst vein. Why they stopped here, I don't know. But they chose to stop here. Maybe they found richer veins elsewhere. But this whole tunnel that you're seeing here was a vein. It ran from the left side to the right side, and you'll see some of the amethyst still left on the wall right there.
Yep.
It's beautiful purple.
And the one you shine a light on it, and the whole cavern glitters. And
Yep. Now, straight up over our head is the continuation of the vein as it comes up. You'll see that there. That is absolutely phenomenal color in this material.
they're huge.
They are.
I mean, that's
Now, this vein here that we're illuminating right now runs about 1.5 feet wide. And this is still one of the small veins.
so the huge ones are probably deeper into the.
Most of the
Mountain
huge ones have been removed already.
They're all
Yeah,
They took everything they could.
they took everything.
They're massive. Well, so this is a rockhound's paradise.
I believe so.
So, oh Jesus. So okay, so that's 150 feet up there. Have you tried to get back up into that
Not yet.
spot up there? That's pretty.
We'll actually be rebuilding workstations. And as we rebuild some of these workstations, we're going to be replanking them, have access from one to another, and eventually hope to open this one site up to geologists, students, and professors only. It won't be for the public,
Oh,
because they will actually be able to climb up and look firsthand at some of the things that the old miners left behind in 1891.
well, and so the stuff, like you said, that hasn't been touched for 40 million years.
Yeah. Okay, I'm standing right now in one of the old 1891 tunnels. Now, it's amazing when you stop and think about a mine and where we've been already compared to this here. Now, this is what the men in 1891 worked in. You can see the rails as they go down through here. These are the original rails that men laid in 1891, and they've been here ever since. They are still usable. If we put rail carts on them, we could use them today. Now, we will be cleaning this area out for people to come to. Now, one of the things that we have to worry about is banging our head. Now, I'm 5'10". I'm gonna take my hard hat off. I'm gonna stand right here, and you can see, I can't stand straight up. My knees are bent. I have to hunch over a little bit. In order for me to stand up, I would have to walk another 2 to 3 feet forward. Now, these men worked in these conditions all day long. And they worked here quite comfortably because most of these men were about 5'1", 5 foot, 5'2", somewhere in that area. If a man reached 5'6", he was tall for this area. So this here, that's how short these men were. These are the areas that we want people to see. As I step forward and stand up a little bit more comfortably, we want people to come in here, enjoy this site, bring your families, learn what our mining history was and is today. So many of our schools today teach mining is bad. Mining is not bad. When you stop and think about it, everything you own in your home comes from 3 industries. And very few people know what these 3 industries are. One is mining. One is forestry. Now, these 2 alone are the 2 primary reasons that technology is what it is today. Because without our mining and without our oil and our gas and the things that we use on a regular basis, our country and our world as we know it today would cease to exist. So we hope people understand that mining isn't always a bad thing. You wear jewelry, comes from mining. You turn your computer on, it comes from mining. And it comes from oil. Remember that when you light your fire at night to keep your house warm and keep your family safe in the middle of the night.